Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is not the video I was planning on filming this week, but I'm behind on my editing and uploading, and so I'm just gonna film a sit down video today, and that is gonna be my guide to fanfiction, specifically dramione fanfiction, and the top fanfictions that I have read this year. So I have been saying that I was gonna film a video talking about this. I don't know how many of you are gonna be interested in it, but it's fun for me, so we are going to get into it. First of all, things to know about fanfiction. At first, I was logging my fanfiction on Goodreads and Fable because the books are on Goodreads and Fable, so you can rate them and mark them as read or whatever, but I have since learned that you should not use Goodreads or Fable for fanfiction, just like you're not supposed to buy and or sell bound copies of fanfiction. You can bind fanfiction for personal use, but not to sell. So as much as I would love physical copies of some of these fanfictions, I have not gotten to a point in my fanfiction journey where I am binding it myself, nor will I buy it, because you can go on Etsy and find fanfiction for sale, but you shouldn't buy it because that goes against the point of fanfiction. It is not for you to make money off of or anything like that, and there's also legal ramifications. So I would just say you can read it on AO3 or wherever you Wattpad, wherever you are consuming your fanfiction content from, or you can download it and send it to your Kindle, which is what I do. Especially some of these that I'm going to talk about have actually been taken off of AO3 because a version is getting published. So that is something to note, that some of them might not be on AO3, but you could probably find a downloaded PDF somewhere on the internet. And maybe I will make a little Google Drive with some of my favorites in PDF form that y'all can download and link it below. Maybe I'll do that. But let's get into just some of my favorites. Some of the most well-known and talked about fanfictions are in this list, and I'll give you like my thoughts. And also, if you are getting into fanfiction, people always talk dramione fanfiction. If you're getting into dramione, people always talk about manacled, which I will talk about today. But if it's your first time reading fanfiction, it might be a lot. It is dark and it is long, and it has really tough themes. It's a dark AU, so it might not be the best place to start, and I'll give you some recommendations of ones that I think would be a good place to start. So I think my first fan fiction and what I recommend for if you're looking to dip your toe into a dramione fan fiction, I would recommend Draco Malfoy and the Mortifying Ordeal of Being in Love. This is told from Draco's point of view, and it's just a normal canon, like timeline story. It's like 7 or 8 years after the war. Hermione and Draco are both working. Hermione's a researcher and Draco is an Auror. And it's just like two fools in love. Draco is in charge of protecting Hermione because something that she's working on could be dangerous. and they go on all these little adventures together, and it's really sweet and lighthearted. So that's why I recommend it to get into. It is still quite long, and it is a super slow burn. They do not get together until the last 80% of the book, but in my mind, that's worth it. You get a lot of good character development between them. You get to see them as they would be post-war, and I think it's a really good way to start your fanfiction journey, because it's not super dark, and it's fun, and it's lighthearted. Manacled and The Auction are the other two that a lot of people talk about. I already mentioned Manacled and The Auction. They are both dark AUs. So AU is alternate universe. So in both of these, Voldemort won the war. In the final battle, the Battle of Hogwarts, Harry died. And it basically is all true up until that point, but at the Battle of Hogwarts, Harry dies, Voldemort wins, and it's a different story. So it's an alternate universe than the universe that we know from the ending of the final Harry Potter book. So, and when I say dark, I mean dark for both of those. Both of them, you should read the tags, trigger warnings, and Manacled is told like present tense for the first 40%, and then there's a good 30% chunk that is flashbacks, because Hermione basically wakes up with no memories, and they are she's put into a repopulation program where the surviving girls of the war are paired up with Death Eaters, high-ranking purebloods, because they need to repopulate the wizard population, and so she is paired with Draco, but she has no memories of the war. And Draco is also a skilled legilimens, and he is tasked with breaking through her mind and figuring out what it is that she has hidden in her mind. And then the flashbacks are flashbacks of the war, of the stuff that Hermione has forgotten. So that's when we get to see basically all of the war from Hermione's point of view, and that is a good chunk. Some people will read the flashbacks first and then read all of the present, and then you skip where the flashbacks would be and read the last 30-ish%. So they'll just rearrange the order and read it in timeline order rather than like the book order, which is not what I did. It's something to consider. I do think if you're reading it for the first time, I would just read it as it was posted. But if you're looking for a reread, that might be a way to go. So that is Manacled, and it is quite good. It was 5 stars for me. Like, I was sobbing. It is so good. Next is The Auction, also a dark AU with a similar storyline in that Hermione is sold to Draco as kind of like a sex slave situation, and there's these parties in Edinburgh Castle that are like sex parties, but Draco and Hermione have secretly liked each other for years. It's like a secret pining situation. And in the auction world, there is also 2 books prior to The Auction, which is The Right Thing to Do and All the Wrong Things. And although you don't have to read those before you read The Auction, I would highly recommend that you do. It adds so much to the story of The Auction, and you get the normal timeline universe. So the war ends, Harry Potter wins, and it is Draco and Hermione living in the real world. Hermione works at a bookstore, Draco is a businessman, and they have been secretly pining for each other for years, just like in the auction, but the auction, Voldemort wins. And the right thing to do is told from Hermione's perspective. It's a full-length fan fiction. The wrong thing to do is Draco's perspective of the same story. And although you may think, it's the same story, I don't need to read it from both perspectives, you do. You really do. You see so many different things based on their different perspectives. And then the auction is Voldemort wins, and Draco and Hermione are together in this like horrible situation where Draco is trying to ultimately protect and save Hermione, but he can't like be obvious about it, so he has to pretend / sometimes like actually do some pretty horrible and hard to read things. But that one has a really good ending. I personally, again, would recommend reading the Rights and Wrongs series. So all 3 of the books before Manacled. I like the auction equally, if not more, than Manacled. And so if you're looking for a dark AU, I would recommend the auction. And again, if you're going to read the auction, I think you should read the other 2 books in the series first, even though you don't have to. So with that being said, it's kind of a 3-for-1 situation where, like, at least for me, you should read all 3 of those before you read Manacled. But again, you can do what you would choose to do. Now I'm just going to kind of go through some of my other favorites. I feel like those 3 that I just talked about are the most well-known Dramione fanfictions, and actually all 3 are getting published in a different form this year. So with that being said, I'm just going to go through my favorites, ones that I gave 5 stars or high, close to 5 stars. Bloody, Slutty, and Pathetic. If you're looking for a like down bad, just like pathetic Draco, this could be for you. It's a marriage law, which I love marriage law fics. Other ones that are really good would be Isolation. This is another one I should have mentioned earlier that is like an OG in the Dramione fanfiction world, but it was started prior to, I think, the Half-Blood Prince book coming out. So this fanfiction is not really in canon. Like, it's very different. Like, you don't see the same things happen in the Order of the Phoenix and Half-Blood Prince, because it was written prior to those books being published, which is crazy. But that one is like a really good character study of Draco and Hermione, and Hermione is tasked by the Order with keeping Draco safe, and so he is basically isolated in her like dorm room with her, and he can't go out, and so she's the only person that he sees, and he is kind of grappling with his like blood supremacy like views, and Hermione's like working through it with him. But then you also see like the war, but an alternate version of the war. It is very good. It is also very long, but it's like an OG in the Dramione fanfiction world. You've probably heard people talk about it. I already talked about The Right Thing to Do and All the Wrong Things. Another one that I love is She Whom He Harbors, and I don't know how popular this one is, honestly, but to me it's a 5-star. It's a normal universe where Hermione's working for the Ministry, and She gets attacked by this monster that basically, it gets like a depression curse situation where she's just like so depressed that she cannot move or feed herself, get up. Like she is so like just deep in this bog of sadness, and the only way to cure this is orgasms. And of course Draco is trapped in a cave with her, and he's the only one that can do it for her. And you wouldn't have that storyline anywhere but in a fan fiction, and I love it. It's a little weird, but so good. If you want really, really spicy, meet me in Dreamland. That is so much smut, and sometimes you're looking for that. So meet me in Dreamland. I am a lover of the Omegaverse and All You Want by Sinlin Yu, who also wrote Manacled, is an Omegaverse Dramione fanfiction. Draco is an alpha, Hermione is an Omega. They're trapped in school together. It's an 8th year fic. I love an 8th year fic as well. And it's top tier. It's like 80% smut, 15% fluff, 100% angst. It is so good. Love and Other Historical Accidents. This is kind of like a Bridgerton X time travel where Draco and Hermione have an accident with their time turner at work and they get stuck in the past and they're trying to get back. It's really good. Love Fool. This is a When Harry Met Sally reimagining, and if you love that like will they won't they, like they're both in love with each other but they won't say it situation, it's so like they just need to have a conversation, you know? And that is Love Fool to a T. It is so good. Now, this is another dark AU that is highly talked about, and that is Secrets and Masks. This wrecked me, destroyed me, Secrets and Masks did. Like, and it's one of those things where Draco is truly like evil / a bad guy. Like obviously he is like, he's a Death Eater. And in several of the AUs, and most in AUs, like he's a Death Eater. And you have to remember that sometimes it's just like, oh, like he will do bad things in the name of the people he loves for the right reasons, but it is bad things. Like, and sometimes that's hard to read. And that's how I feel about Secrets and Masks. Also, it's super gory. Some of the like torture and the killing is really bloody and hard to read. So keep that in mind, but I will say it is so well done, and it had me sobbing like probably more than any other fan fiction that I've read. So good. Next, Meet Your Match. This one is so sweet, and I think, again, if you're trying to get into it, it might be a good way to get into it because it's just like lighthearted and fun. And that is like Draco and Hermione have muggle friends that try and set them up, not realizing that they already know each other. And it's just like both of them in the muggle world, in the normal like day-to-day, and it's so cute. I love them together in that. Next is Wait and Hope, and this is Hermione wakes up with no memories and realizes that she's married to Draco Malfoy, and the last thing she remembers is she was dating Ron. And so she wakes up so confused, and of course Draco is such a sweetheart. It's so good. Okay, another OG in the fanfiction community is Detrake. And this is long. Like, it will take you weeks on weeks to read because it is Hermione. All of it told from Hermione's point of view from 4th year on. And it's it's a coming of age about Hermione. Like, you go all the way through the war with her, you see her start her life post-war, and it is also a slow burn. Like, I would not call this a romance. I would call it like a coming of age story about Hermione, who I think is such a misunderstood character. But along the way, she falls in love. And it is really, really good, but it is an undertaking. I would not start with that if you're trying to get into fan fiction, because you will be overwhelmed. I was overwhelmed. Okay, there's obviously lots more. If you want to hear me talk about any fan fictions, in all of my wrap-ups, I start my videos with talking about the fan fictions that I've read for the month. I've recently gotten into Drary. I've read some dramione. There's other stuff in there, but this video I'm specifically focusing on dramione fan fictions and recommendations if you're looking to get into that. But if you want to hear my reviews on any of the fan fiction that I've read this year, what I'm currently reading, you should go watch my wrap-ups, because I start the videos with my fan fiction portion. And if you don't want to listen to me talk about any of the other books that I've read, you don't have to keep watching. You can just watch the first part, or vice versa. I try and keep it separate and easy to, if you just want to watch one part or the other, you can do that as well. So those are my dramione fanfiction recommendations if you're looking to get into it, of well-known ones across the dramione fanfiction universe. There is so many, and I've read some not that good ones, and I've read some just like happy fluffy ones, and those usually don't rank as high for me as the ones that are like dark and tearjerkers, just because they're so good. But I will not allow myself to read more than one of those like a month, because it will take over my whole life, and that's all I will be thinking about. I still sometimes think about something that happened in the auction, or Manacled, or Secrets and Masks, and like start crying. So I will have to throw myself in with some like shorter, fluffy Marriage of Convenience or Accidental Pregnancy. I eat up that with dramione. And also Daddy Draco, anytime he's a dad, he is so cute and so just, I want to give him a hug. Anyway, there's lots out there, and I will make a list maybe below of all that I've read. But thank you so much for watching and for letting me just rant for 20 minutes about fan fictions, because I had fun, and I hope this was informative for some people who are looking to get into fan fiction. So see you guys somewhere else on the internet.